How do you speak for 1 hour continuously without looking at the notes and without forgetting your speech if you get on stage or you talk to people? So, in this video, I'm going to break it down for you so that you have absolute clarity and you can do the same. We have a program called Public Speaking Domination. So, this is the technique that I teach my students, and I thought I'll make a video and share with you. If that is of interest to you, keep watching till the end and you will get absolute clarity. What does it take to speak for an hour without looking at the notes? So whenever we plan our speech, this is the first thing that we do. We reverse engineer our talk. First thing we need to have clarity on is what are 3 to 4 key takeaways that we want for our people. Once we are clear on those parts, then what we do is we look for stories in our life. Usually it's from our life or our client's life, or it could be from the internet as well to make our point. We just don't give them chat GPT kind of points. Here is A, B, C, D, and 10 logical points. Because the thing is, they might absorb all those points, but when they go home, they'll forget. They'll say, yeah, that guy was talking about something. It was good, but I can't tell you what exactly it was. And this is how human brain works. I learned this from Tony Robbins. 1, 2, 3. I'm with you. After that, anything that you say is considered many, and nobody remembers many things. So if you're sharing many things with people, they're more likely to forget it. So what you really need is 3, 4 solid points that you really want to make in your presentation, and then have stories. Once you explain stories, it is really hard for you to forget the stories because those are your stories. You have told them before. So that's like the meats and potatoes of the entire talk. That is where you spend most of the time. So you got to have it down packed in your head. And once you are creating stories and you're making your point through stories, it should be in right logical sequence as well. So if you are telling a story, let's say it's the Karate Kid. So first thing that you talk about is how this person moved from America to China, and then you show the struggle part, right? With every phase in the story, there is a specific outcome and message. And then he meets Mr. Miyagi, and then he goes through the training, and then he participates in a tournament where he earns the respect. It allows you to explain the information in right logical order, right chronological order. And for you, it will be very, very clear because one story leads to another story, and then it leads to another story. It's a right logical sequence. So you will not struggle with it because one step after the other is pretty obvious one. And for you, it reduces cognitive load. For your audience also, it is less cognitive load to absorb the information if it is presented in the right way. So now you understand the sequencing as well. Finally, one technique that I use with my students is this. We never ever write down our talk. Now what? For 1 hour, we're going to talk and we're not going to write down our talk? Yes. So what I really want you to do is take your phone, go to voice memo app, and imagine you're talking to family and friend. How would you talk to your family and friend? Just record your speech the same way. Tell the story. When we write down, actually, there is a big discrepancy because the way we speak and the way we write are two different things. And that is why when you write down and try to memorize, first of all, it gives you a lot of cognitive load. Second problem with that is we don't write and speak the same way. You know what I mean? Are you guys with me? You never write down those kind of things. And that is why when you memorize, it sounds very canned and robotic. So that is how we structure the main body of the speech. Finally, we have 2 more elements to master. First one is always the introduction. So introduction, don't go straight into, hey guys, my name is Sagar. Are you guys with me? Okay, I went to this college, this university. Don't make it really boring like that. If you are speaking at a conference, if you're speaking on a stage, you already have been vetted. You don't need to prove yourself that I'm the guy to present this. Usually the MC has already announced your name, or there has been enough credentials in front of your name. That is why you're on the stage. So you don't need to prove yourself. Don't do that. Straight away, introduce the topic and give people what they need to hear. Within a couple of minutes, you need to set your credibility by telling them that this is what we're going to cover in the most engaging way. First 60 seconds are the most important segments or seconds in your speech. You need to be really master at this. So you got to have this down pat because this is where a lot of anticipation, the anxiety is happening, and people are also judging you. But immediately, if you have thought of everything, like you have crafted a joke that you're going to crack, and without even thinking, you speak, you get started on a very high level of energy, your audience will get the message that this is the guy we got to pay attention to. Because first time they judge you on your appearance, second time they judge you is when you open your mouth. And they're making judgments, should I pay attention to this person, or can I go to TikTok, Instagram, make my grocery list, right? So when you speak, it is really, really important you capture people's attention. So think of some powerful ways to introduce your topic and not make it boring so you have everybody's attention. Now, last thing in your speech is call to action. So this is where you compile all the call to action. This is where you one more time walk them through what you promised in the beginning and the main key points from the speech, and you tell them to take action. So for example, if you are selling your products and services, you got to tell them, this is my offer for you. I want you to sign up. I would highly encourage, let's start. Today is day 0. Let's get started. So you got to tell that to people. Don't make assumption that, yeah, that's the next logical step. They will automatically do it. That's not how human behavior works. You got to tell them. So if you really want people to maybe scan your QR code, follow on social, then ask them, this is what I want you to do. Or maybe you want them to go home and test it out or tell it to 5 people. Whatever is your call to action, maybe apply this and see how your life changes. It has to be more impactful than the intro and the main body of the speech, because last thing is what they remember. How they walking out of your conference, your seminar, your public speaking event will determine if they're going to take action or not. If you leave them in a lousy state in the end, then you haven't done a very good job. But if you walk them through the entire journey and finally you pump them up to take action, then that energy they're going to carry with them. And in that energy, they're going to take action. So if you follow this framework and structure that I share with you, prepare your speeches in 3 segments. First is the meats and potatoes. Not more than 3 things, ideally 3 to 4 things max. And think of stories, arrange them in right logical sequence. So one story leads to another story leads to another. And then you make point at the end of every story. Sometimes you can use the sentence like, the reason I tell you the story is, now you turn that information into insight, and then it leads to another story. It should be in the right order. So once you have clarity on that, work on introduction, and then finally work on the close as well. Now, there is something which most people miss, and that is called practice. When you practice it, make sure you speak loud and clear. Imagine the audience is right there. So when we verbalize our thoughts, it's a different experience. As compared to when we close our eyes, close our mouth, when we speak in our mind, it's way easier. But actually, when we speak it for real, it is way different. And you want to get comfortable with this. Get yourself good 8 to 10 reps. That's what I would recommend at least, so that it is flowing easy from your tongue. The second thing that I would say is use radically simple language. The goal of public speaking is not to look smart. Other day, somebody wrote an email to me and said, Sagar, my problem is that my clients want me to dumb down my message and they don't understand. It increases their cognitive load. And he used very heavy words. And then eventually, after talking, what we realized is he had self-worth insecurity issues. He thought that if he used simple words, because something he did was very simple, and people will not find the value in it and they will not pay for it. So that is why he used heavy words to look smart and add weight to his offer so that people think this is of value. But what it was doing was opposite. If people don't understand it, why would somebody pay money to this person and buy it if he does not even understand it? So Einstein said this: if you cannot explain something in simple words, that means you don't understand it enough yet. So your goal should be, if I'm speaking at a conference, even the janitor who's standing at the back of the room, he's able to understand my thoughts and ideas, goes home and tell it to other people. And if you can achieve that, that means you are an effective communicator. And you can look at some of the greatest speakers on the planet. If you pick up Warren Buffett, if you pick up Steve Jobs, or if you pick up Tony Robbins or Jim Rohn, you will never ever have to refer to dictionary. They never use fancy words, they use everyday words. So it is not about looking smart, it is about communicating the message to people so they have clarity and they can take action. The goal is not to look smart. If you want to look smart, then you're going for the wrong reasons and you will not get the impact that you're looking for. I hope I was able to make that a point, that clarity of message. And second thing is simplicity in your language. The words that you choose, selection of the words that you choose should be very, very simple. Radically simplify it for yourself. So this is my 3-step process when you prepare the body, the introduction, and the end separately. Finally, use very simple words and don't write down your speech. If you write down, even if you're not looking at your speech, the paper is 3 meters away, 30 to 40% of your brain is in the notes, and you won't be fully present in the moment. But if you use stories and in right logical sequence, you don't need any notes. You have your key points. Now, I can give you a cheat sheet. This works in any scenario. For example, I'm speaking at a conference, okay? If I have my 4 points, 4 stories that I want to tell, I can have one sticky note. I can look at my sticky note. Maybe I'm carrying a water bottle. I'm allowed to have a sip of water every now and then. I can have my sticky note here, and I can have 4 points on this. That's it. And one word max for one story. Like Facebook story, I'll create Facebook symbol. Next one is school story. Maybe I'll create a school tie. So like that, best is symbols because you don't have to read it. So every now and then I can just have a sip of water so I know I'm tracking how I'm tracking. That's it. So if you follow the process, what I told you today, the 3-step system, clarity of message, and radically simplifying the message, you'll be able to speak for an hour at any conference. It doesn't take any genius, but it does take implementation. Listen, we run a program called Public Speaking Domination where all the students from around the world come together, practice on Zoom call on live scenarios. They also get feedback from me. If that is something you're interested in, you can book a call with me at publicspeakingdomination.com. The link you'll find in my bio. I would be happy to speak to you if you really want to master public speaking and you want to take it to the next level.